Hello, Namaskar, and welcome to Nation Talks. I'm Preeti Prakash. Today, we're going to talk on our upcoming Prime Minister Modi's visit to the US. Prime Minister Modi is all set to undertake his US tour from June 21st at the invitation of President of USA, Joe Biden. He has been invited on a state visit, and this is his third visit to the US since he came to power. Another highlight of the Prime Minister's visit is that he's going to address the US Congress. That's for the second time, which is a rare honor for any head of state, for that matter, any foreign dignitary. Just to tell you that the first Indian who had this privilege was Dr. Radhakrishnan, our president, in 1965, and the second was Dr. Manmohan Singh in 2019. President Biden and Lady Biden are going to host a personal dinner for Prime Minister Modi, apart from the other intimate meetings in the agenda. If we talk about US-India relationship, it's a mutually beneficial relationship that has soared over the years. We have a comprehensive global strategic partnership between our both two democracies, and there have been engagements and agreements at all levels, the bilateral, regional, and global. Let me just remind you that the pillars of our collaborative working is in trade, in economics, in defense, we have a strategic partnership, there's technology transfer, energy. These are some few of them where there are collaborative mechanisms working and are in place. This visit, in a way, is a very consequential visit. The reasons, if we delve into it, we like to analyze it. The reason why Prime Minister Modi has been invited is a matter of speculation. Also, the outcomes of all the intimate meetings that the Prime Minister is going to have with the President and with other dignitaries of the US administration, then the glitzy parties that are being hosted by the White House for the Prime Minister. And at the end of it, the deliverables are particularly very important, which will be watched keenly, not just in India and not just in US, but in the entire world for that matter. To talk about this and much more, I have with me Professor Saluja right from New York. He is, to tell you about him, he's a very eminent person of Indian American fraternity in the US. He's New York based. He's the editor publisher of the Indian Panorama. It's a popular New York and Dallas published newspaper. He's a journalist. He's been a journalist. He's a social activist and a poet also, and he's the recipient of the Jewel of India award by the Consulate General. Welcome, Professor Saluja, to Nation Talks.
My pleasure, and with folded hands, namaskar to you and your viewers. And this, of course, is an opportunity to talk a lot about very, as you said, consequential event. It has so much to offer, so much to think about, and I'll be ready to speak to you on whatever aspect of the visit you want.
Thank you so much for being with us, Professor Saluja. I'll start by asking you that this visit, as we are saying, it's a very historical one. It's going to be very consequential. We do see, and there is surely some messaging behind this visit of Prime Minister Modi. How do you see it, and how does the diaspora see it? And particularly, US has an election next year, and there's a huge Indian community in the US which is out to be wooed by all the presidents that stand for election. So generally, what is the messaging that you would think the visit brings in with it?
Well, it's a very complicated question you have asked me. It has so many dimensions, So I will try to touch upon a few of the dimensions of visit. Now, as far as the community is concerned, the Indian American community, the diaspora, they are very excited. And you have rightly said that there is a huge diaspora, Indian diaspora here. and very influential. Uh, Let me tell you, and probably you are aware of it, that Indians are the highest earning group in this country. We have the highest income in this country. No other, ethnicity, no other community makes so much money per year as the Indians do on an average. So we are amongst the richest persons in that way, the richest community here. Of course, the Jews are fabled to be the richest, but that's a different issue altogether. So one thing why Indian community is important for every politician is not because of the numbers. Numerically, we do not have that kind of a strength, but financially, we are able to support the candidate. And as they say, money makes the mayor go. Every politician here does the fundraisers, and they want maximum contribution to their maximum funding to their campaign funds. And Indians are known to be contributing a lot. Number one. And this brings me to another question, maybe a little, I'm digressing a little. Indians, they are very charitable. We have people here who have donated millions and millions of dollars to educational institutions. Of course, the first love remains their religion. They would be contributing to building of temples, gurudwaras, mosques, churches, and all that. But then they are the fact remains that they contribute a lot to all kinds of charitable purposes and to the politicians. So that is why the importance of the Indian diaspora is number one. The second thing, as I said, numerically they are not strong, but then they have the political clout also. One, they are the top executives in this country. In IT industry, you have the top, what you call the CEOs of the biggest corporations here, Microsoft, Google, name any. A dozen of them, and the latest has been our Mr. Banga, who is now the head of the World Bank, the president of the World Bank. So that way, we do exercise a lot of clout in the U.S. politics. Now, Modi ji, if you recall, 2 years ago, he was in USA at Houston, and he was addressing a huge gathering of the Indian Americans. Yeah, some 50 to 60,000 people. And Mr. Trump was the president then, and Mr. Trump came and joined Mr. Modi at the rally in Houston, where Modi ji, in an emotional fit, said, "Ab ki baar Trump sarkar,"
Yeah.
and which was not like which was viewed by Americans as another country's prime minister interfering in the election in America. That was something, which went against Mr. Modi then. I hope he doesn't do anything of that kind. So, Mr. Modi's visit here is very important. The diaspora is looking at it as a way for a greater recognition within the country. Because when the prime minister is coming, prime minister is given this kind of reception. As you rightly said, he is the third person to be third Indian leader who is going to address the joint
US.
meeting of the Congress. Rare honor. And of course, look at the visits that for years together there was no meeting and no visit of any prime minister from India to the US. And then came after a long pause, there came a visit by Manmohan Singh ji. After Vajpayee ji visited, it was Manmohan Singh. And then you see Prime Minister Modi in succession, it is his third visit to the US. That speaks a lot. The importance America attaches to India. Now, Why does America attach so much importance to India? That's a question which I think is debatable and which probably is interesting also. Uh, there are geopolitical reasons, there are economic reasons. Look at the economy. After US had strained relations with China, the trade between China and USA dropped to a very, very low level. I would like your viewers to know that as as a as a as an American citizen, I'm saying this, that we depend even today for everything from pin to a sophisticated, part in say the aviation industry or in our manufacturing of arms on China. And there was a time when we were so much dependent that nothing could move here unless and until the supplies were there from China. That supply chain was disrupted after US had problem with China. And we now have shortages of certain commodities, not to speak about the more sophisticated parts that I was referring to, which are used in IT industry, making armaments here, which are required for aviation industry, which are required for auto industry, all that. So America is now looking for another partner. Unfortunately, America has never been very, very serious about manufacturing sector, even though the what you call the left-leaning people here, not the Republicans, of course, the left-leaning in the Democratic Party, they have been demanding that we have a robust manufacturing, which is going to help the middle classes.
So, if you
But
allow me to interject, Professor Saluja, is this part of the messaging of the visit? Do you think it's that way?
it's all about economy, ma'am. It's all about economy.
Economy.
America, America is a land of business people. They cannot think of anything more than the business. It is the investment. A lot of companies. I'm saying that so many companies here, they have gone and invested in India,
Yes.
and they are still investing. And the latest is what we are hearing from our Tesla guy,
Yeah.
Who is thinking of taking manufacturing right in India because they want to move out of China.
Yeah.
So so it's all about business. Let us be very clear. Look at the number of visits our commerce minister
Have made.
has made to US recently. Look, consider the statements of the US Secretary of Commerce. All these will point to the simple thing that there is a desire in both the countries to strengthen the economic ties, to have more import export, between the two countries. And India needs a lot of things from America, and probably America would like India to become the hub of manufacturing so that America doesn't have to depend on China.
Yeah.
Now, this is a moment which it's an opportunity India should grab. There is so much unemployment in India. I don't know what is wrong with the government policies there that they have been seeing these signals for so many years. Either they are stupid not to understand the meaning of the signals that they are getting, or they are just unconcerned about the development at the grassroots level. I give you an example, ma'am. We are going to celebrate International Day of Yoga.
Yeah.
Now, this has become a multi-billion industry in the world today. Multi-billion industry. And if you look at the items that we require, even for the mats, why can't you manufacture mats, jute mats, popularize them, give you provide opportunities for jobs there, for businesses there in India, and export those items to the world. You will be making everybody happy,
So you
creating
mean even mats are not being manufactured in India, you mean? Small thing
absolutely.
like a mat. Is it also being outsourced and
and
manufactured
and
by other countries?
mats are required, ma'am, in number is in billions, not in millions only. It's in billions. I mean, everywhere in the world, uh, Indian government sends those mats for celebration of International Day of Yoga. And once these, these are not reusable by the what do you call the missions here abroad. Once those mats are given to the people, and the people carry the mats with them. That's it. So every year you need them. So you can have a constantly productive industry to do that. I'm sorry for having made that remark, but then I realized that there are so many areas where government of India should, I mean, think of something new. Think of the people at the lower level. We are
Okay.
we are thinking in India of at the highest level. So that's not going to help the economy of that country. And this is America is offering an opportunity now. Now I say for to India to come up in a big way in manufacturing sector. If they keep manufacturing only some components for, say, the industries in military for use in military or for use in aviation industry, that's not going to help Indian economy. But opportunity is there, and this is one aspect. This is the most important aspect. Even now, on this visit, emphasis will be a greater emphasis will be on trade and economy. And
Yeah.
the next, of course, the other things, of course, are there. They will be talking about defense. They will be talking about education. You know, cooperating in educational sector, everything. That is how I look at it.
Okay. As you said, just to take it a little forward, it's generally said that India-US relationship is of a transactional nature. And that US, it's said by many strategists and thinkers that this relationship is not actually about being allies and or being friendly, which US, generally categorizes the other countries as their either allies or friends. But with India, with the world scenario also changing with Russia, Ukraine, and in the background, and China's hegemony in the Indo-Pacific. So it's US also sees India from a very transactional point of view. More about, as you said, it's more about economics, it's about trade, it's about strategic partnership for that matter. Do you agree with that?
I do, ma'am. I give you one example. India is the only country that was not subjected to severe sanctions by the USA for having its trade relationships and other relationship with Russia in the wake of the war between Ukraine and Russia. Many other countries, they felt they were subjected to very harsh sanctions. Not India. That is the strength of India. And why it is so? Because America is looking at India as a potential ally to meet the challenges in the East, particularly from China. At the same, you look at the geopolitical scenario, at the moment. For long, it was Pakistan that was an ally of USA. But Pakistan, for its own needs, has been gradually moving towards China. China has been helping Pakistan in making roads, in providing aid for various projects there. So, in the eyes of US, Pakistan is not a dependable ally. Number two, who bothers for a poor man? Not America. So Pakistan has nothing to give to America. The only thing that that USA looked at one time expected at one time from Pakistan was that a strong Pakistan would be a deterrent to India, which was a non-aligned country in the first place, and it was aligned to the Soviet bloc. And that was the time when India was not on terms with USA. If you recall 1971, when our Indian forces, went into East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, America had sent its, navy, Enterprise, I believe it was the destroyer, this nuclear ship, to intimidate India. It was a different matter that India did not get intimidated.
Yeah.
India stood its ground, and US probably had only made a presence to please Pakistan at that time. But then I was coming to it. India is a country which US is dependent on for its geopolitical concerns. And if at all, and US realizes that if at all tomorrow they need somebody to confront China, it is only India, not Pakistan or any other country. Even Japan will not be able to confront China.
Yeah.
So that is India. That is the importance of it.
So basically, it boils down to a transaction in any fashion, for that matter, whether it is economics or whether it is geostrategic.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And India is pretty well placed as of now. Particularly, this region is very, very important place now, with a lot of turbulence happening in the Indo-Pacific. That makes India very important, and that makes India. That is why US would surely love to, invest a lot in India in all ways, right?
US has no options. Let me make one thing clear. I'm a US citizen, born in India. I've been here 20 years. I've studied the policies here. I've often spoken, as a journalist would speak with leaders here. It's not India that needs USA. India can do without USA. Maybe the pace of development could be slow, but India is not under any compulsion to be dependent on USA. But US has compulsions to depend on it. And India knows it. I must give full credit to foreign policy makers of India that they understand it. Jaishankar was here. Jaishankar was in Beijing. He understands very well the the pulse of both the both the governments, both the countries. So India is playing playing the game very wisely. Uh, India is having good relationship with Russia. India, of course, has to do a lot as far as its relationship with the neighbors comes. That's an area where I think Indian diplomacy probably has to do a lot, because if you think other countries, the neighboring countries are smaller countries or poorer countries or less powerful countries, uh, it doesn't help. That attitude, overloading them will not help. What you need is have friendly relations with your neighbors, because a neighbor is a neighbor there for all times, and every day you have a problem with a neighbor, it doesn't help you. So India, of course, through your this channel, I would like to give my perspective, an American perspective on it. that India needs to mend fences with the neighbors, whether
Okay.
it is Bangladesh or Sri Lanka or Pakistan, even Pakistan, because unfortunately, uh, this venomous, atmosphere that has been created in that part of the subcontinent is not to the advantage of India.
Anyone?
Yes.
Okay. Now moving a little forward, I would like to ask you, is India has this visit of Prime Minister in India is everywhere. You can see talks about it everywhere. And it's a very, very, hype thing also, Prime Minister visiting US and particularly in the state visit. Is the same kind of buzz in the American media as well about the visit?
No, American media has always been unconcerned about all these. They it doesn't excite them at all. They don't think it's something very as important as the Indian media thinks, or the Indian diaspora here thinks. I told you the Indian diaspora is not numerically strong here. So, you know, your numbers, if you have numbers, you matter. You matter everywhere, whether it is in society or in politics. Everywhere you matter if you have numbers. Unfortunately, the diaspora here has a few what we call desi TV channels and some desi newspapers. They carry the news, and they are so. I think somehow uh, mm, there is a tendency in media here to idolize, and that probably creates a hype kind of a thing about this visit. But who is bothered about the desi media here? I mean, nobody. A Punjabi or a Hindi or a Tamil or Bengali newspaper or one or two TV channels, they can probably reach to a few Indians only. They would not be reaching the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
So,
in my
and so
newspaper, which is
newspapers like New York Times, Washington Post, and all, you think it's not they won't give us a very big coverage to the visit
not
of
at all,
Prime
you will see it for yourself. You'll see it for
Minister.
yourself. I mean, not the kind of coverage that we give, of course.
Of
I mean,
course.
like we are very well known here, and we have readership from Australia to North America, uh, and people trust us for giving a very objective news and analysis. But then we cannot claim that we can create a kind of image of you know India or any leader coming from India. Not possible.
Okay. Next question to you, Professor Saluja, is that if you were to meet Prime Minister Modi, what would you be asking for? Or in other terms, what is the expectation of the Indian diaspora when Prime Minister Modi is going to meet them? That's on the agenda. They say he's going to meet CEOs, he's going to meet prominent Indians and Indo-Americans also when he comes during his visit. So what would you want to, talk to him or ask him as an Indian American?
Allow me to answer the question in a while, but before that, you talked about his meeting with the CEOs, business leaders, and I just want to tell you that this is what I was telling you. It's all economy. It is all business. Meeting with CEOs. Why with CEOs? Why not just with the doctors or engineers and all? No, with CEOs, because it's again business thing. So
Mhm.
now let me say the diaspora here will go gaga over the visit. It's very ecstatic that the prime minister is coming. He is going to be hosted by president and his wife Jill Biden. and he would be meeting the leaders, and he would be meeting the CEOs, and they are very ecstatic that he's going to address the Congress meeting of the Congress. They feel proud that here is a man who is being given so much honor. But then this is not just for India only. Sitting here, I can tell you, so many world leaders come. So many are hosted by the president, and their media also makes hype about it, about the, but naturally. So the diaspora here only would sing the praises of Prime Minister Modi. But if I were to meet, and if we were allowed to ask a question, which we are not allowed to ask, I met him twice or thrice earlier also, but it was just a fleeting meeting kind of a thing, and no questions. You just go, maybe namaskar, shake hand, have a photograph with him, no questions. But if I were allowed to ask him, I will just ask him, Mr. Modi. It took Indian leaders decades to create a national feeling of national integration, to create a feeling of brotherhood, to create an atmosphere in which the people, the kids would grow without thinking of religion, without thinking of other differences, between various communities, religion and everything. And why are you creating these divisions? You may succeed now, but India will fail in the long run. A divided India will be a weak India. A divided India will fall prey to the mischievous elements around. That is one question I would like to ask if I'm given an opportunity. And I'm glad that you gave me an opportunity to ask this question through you, in case he would desist from dividing, restoring the glory of India. We all talk of shining India and
Vasudev Kutumbakam and India,
Vasudhaiv.
the world is one and everything.
You say Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam and you are killing the guy next to your house. Not done. This is Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. If you think that way, I mean that's a that's an ideal, which is not very hard to achieve, but you have to have the good intentions. You cannot have evil intentions to achieve something. Uh, you know, uh, what we call Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. In order to achieve that kind of uh, result, you have to have the good intention.
Okay.
Unfortunately, people like me sitting 10,000 miles away from India, we keep looking at the situation. We feel unhappy. We even grieve. We shed tears. What is happening? But then we cannot do much except speak out. Speak. We have to speak out.
Mhm. So, Professor Saluja, to get your sense of it, does Prime Minister Modi has a lot of personal capital invested in a lot of world leaders, and even for that matter, President Biden, and also his predecessors. Like there was a personal connect every time he met. So that's a part of his persona. That the leaders have actually been able to connect with him very personally, and that I would call as his personal investment into the relationship.
Right.
So does President Biden, for that matter, because he's traveling to US just now, what is the perspective, if we can understand, if you can tell us, how does President Biden view President Modi as a Prime Minister Modi as a leader, other than the economics and other than the trade part of our relationship, on a personal level?
I don't think there is anything like personal like or dislike when it comes to diplomacy. Diplomacy is all guided by your needs, by your compulsions. If today Biden is meeting Modi ji, it is because, as I said earlier, it is some America has compulsions to rely on India. If Biden did not have the compulsions, if US did not have the compulsions, he wouldn't have. Biden would not have bothered for Modi ji or for any man, for anybody, any leader from India. So I don't attach much importance, hugs and all that. I even remember, uh, I can probably share a photograph also with you. When Modi ji was trying to hug uh, Biden, oh sorry, Trump, he just just tried to stop him. So I mean, hugging and I mean, there's changing pleasantries is a part of diplomacy. I don't attach much.
Okay.
Tomorrow, if tomorrow there are US has some other compulsions, US will have probably welcome any other guy as much as it is welcoming Mr. Modi.
Okay. Now, just my last question, coming to the geopolitics part of it, the Asia region, which is Indo-Pacific region, also is actually in a lot of turbulent condition as of now. As I said, because of Russia-Ukraine war, then asserting China, then there are shifting sands in the Middle East as well. So, do you think that this visit of Prime Minister Modi, can will he talk, and will Biden also talk about these this area, giving direction where we can speculate that Prime Minister Modi will have some contribution to give some direction to these warring countries, like he earlier said, no, like he earlier had when he talked to President Putin, he said this is not the time of war. So this visit, you think this visit they're going to maybe talk something about getting the warring parties to peace and bringing in peace in this area?
Well, Putin has been Russia has been a close ally of India. India has been a close ally of Russia. Putin and Modi are very close that way. I mean, if you talking about some kind of a closeness. But I ask you a question. When he said this is not the time of the war, did Putin listen to him? My question.
No, yeah.
Do you think if he suggests that we encircle China, is Biden going to listen to him? All these countries will be guided by their own needs and capacities. When they need India, they would expect India to cooperate with them. These are only, some kind of signals that the world leaders send. You have India here, Indian Prime Minister visiting, so the signal will go to China, North Korea, that look here, we can form an axis against you. And there are already so many blocks have been created in the Indo-Pacific region. So it's part of an ongoing, this is what you call a psychological warfare. So India has no intentions of getting involved in anything, in any conflict with China. If India had a desire, there were so many occasions when China, simply usurped the borders areas of, you know, so much land, has been usurped by China. But India, except for protesting and then telling the people in India that everything is okay, no part of Indian land has been, captured by the Chinese. And when the facts are known to the whole world that the Chinese have captured a whole lot of Indian territory in the northeast. So my humble submission to you is that we should not be seeing too much into all these discussions. These are ongoing discussions, ongoing plannings. This is brinkmanship that all countries indulge in, and a joint declaration or a statement, if you are looking at it, it will only speak about increasing cooperation between the two countries in the field of manufacturing, in the field of defense, in the field of trade, in the sector of IT and all that. Basically all these economic aspects. And I don't see anything if at all there is a joint declaration. I don't see anything coming up by way of a reference to a possible Chinese, aggression in the area or belligerence. I mean, if you don't call it aggression, you could call it belligerence in the area. And I don't think that there would be at the most, there could be a kind of a reference to the need for peace between Ukraine and Russia. And I don't think they would make an appeal. No way. Because it is not in the interest of US to stop the war. It is in the interest of US and NATO countries to continue to help Ukraine fight against Russia, because these countries are looking at destroying, devastating Russia, almost, let me say it, destroying Russia. That is what has been going on, and that is again, it's an ongoing part. It started with the disintegration, Cold War period, disintegration of the Soviet Republic, and probably the capitalist country and the communist country. That concept is still, very much valid. And again, US looks to be the only superpower. It has always believed in it. It now believes in it. It will continue to believe in it, even though the U.S. economy is now, nosediving, and there are serious, consequences for this, economic downturn here. If that continues to happen, maybe someday uh, America would loan by India also. That would be a great day for India.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was really a pleasure talking to you, Professor Saluja. There was so much insight that you gave into India-US relationship. Not just that, even President Biden and Prime Minister Modi, and there were takeaways, a lot of takeaways from your talks, particularly when we get a sense of what Indian Americans sitting there feel about India, and the how India is being the weight of India that is being sensed in the entire world. Thank you so much once again to be with me. And thank you, viewers, to be here and watching us from wherever you are. Till we meet again next time for another episode on on an issue of national importance. I take your leave and thank you once again. Thank you.